My name is Malachi Rivers. I'm 15 years old and I live in a quiet town called Fairpine, somewhere between the hills and the flatlands of northern Arizona. Life here is slow, peaceful, and ordinary. That's how it's always been. Or at least that's how it felt, until October 18, 2023. That was the day everything changed. That was the day I died. It still feels strange to say that out loud. I died. It's something most people don't even think about until they're old. But I was just a kid when it happened. I didn't expect to leave this world. I didn't expect to meet Jesus. And I definitely didn't expect to come back with a message that burns so heavy in my heart that I can't keep it to myself. It started like any other Wednesday. I had just finished lunch at school, turkey sandwich, apple juice, and a cookie. What I didn't know was that the cookie had something in it I was highly allergic to. I don't remember much after that. I just remember the itching, the tightness in my throat, the panic in my chest as I fell over in the hallway. Kids were screaming. Teachers were calling for help. And then, darkness. I was clinically dead for 17 minutes. 17 minutes where my heart wasn't beating. 17 minutes where I wasn't breathing. 17 minutes where I should have been gone forever. But I wasn't gone. I don't know how to describe what came next, not perfectly. Words feel too small. But I remember it like a dream that's more real than real. At first, everything was quiet, still like the whole universe was holding its breath. Then came the light. It wasn't like the light we see here. It was alive, full of warmth and love. It wrapped around me like arms, like the safest hug I've ever felt. I didn't feel afraid. I didn't feel pain. I just felt peace. Pure, complete peace. And then I saw him. Jesus. I didn't need anyone to tell me who he was. I knew. He was shining, not in a blinding way but in a way that made you want to fall to your knees and cry at how beautiful and holy he was. His eyes were the first thing I noticed. They looked right into me, deeper than anyone ever has. And in them I saw every moment of my life. My laughter. My mistakes. My secrets. My fears. And he didn't turn away. He loved me anyway. He smiled at me. Not the kind of smile that says, "You're good," but the kind that says, "You're mine. I made you. I know you. And I never stopped loving you." He walked closer and I felt like my soul was glowing just being near him. I couldn't speak. I just stood there overwhelmed. And then he spoke. His voice was calm and full of power. He said, "Malachi, I have something to show. The young ones must know what is coming." My heart started pounding, not with fear but with something like destiny. Like I was about to see something that would change me forever. And I did. And suddenly I wasn't in the light anymore. What I saw next was unlike anything I'd ever imagined. It was the future. Not in a movie way like flying cars and space cities, but something deeper. Realer. I was floating above a world that looked like our own but felt different. People were laughing, talking, living their lives, but something was off. Their eyes looked empty. Their smiles didn't reach their hearts. They were holding strange little devices, but they weren't just phones. These things were connected to their heads. Small chips or bands, glowing faintly, pressed into the skin behind their ears. Jesus didn't have to explain. I just knew. These were brain chips. Not just gadgets. They were part of the people now. Like an extra limb or a second brain. And they thought it was helping them. They believed it was making them smarter, faster, better. They were told it would fix depression, help them learn anything instantly, and even connect their thoughts to each other. I watched a young boy smile as he activated a game with just his mind. His friends cheered. It seemed harmless. But then Jesus touched my shoulder. And in that moment it was like a veil was lifted. I saw what was really happening behind the smiles. The chips weren't just tools. They were gateways. Invisible doors that led in something dark. Something not of God. I saw shadows. Creatures without bodies, whispering thoughts into people's minds. Telling them lies. Convincing them that truth was fake and fake was truth. That good was evil and evil was good. These spirits didn't scream. They didn't force. They just whispered, slow and steady, until people forgot how to pray, forgot how to feel, forgot who they were. It hit me so hard I almost cried. These people didn't even know they were being controlled. They had traded their minds for power, and in doing so, they had lost their souls without realizing it. And the saddest part? They thought they were free. I turned to Jesus and I asked, why? Why would they do this? He looked at me with deep sorrow. Because they were told it would save them. But no technology can replace the Spirit of God. He paused, then added, This is the battle of your generation, Malachi. Not swords, not guns, not armies, but truth versus deception, spirit versus machine. Many will follow what feels easy, but I will raise up those who follow me even when the world laughs at them. Then he showed me another group of people. They were fewer in number, scattered in places all over the world. Some in cities, some in the countryside. They didn't have the chips. They didn't look powerful. Some were poor. Some were lonely. Some were sick. But their faces glowed. They had fire in their eyes, and I saw miracles happening through them. Healing, dreams, visions, bold prayers. They had no machines, but they had Jesus, and Jesus had them. And then I understood. This wasn't just a warning. It was a call. Jesus was calling me to speak, to tell young people, kids like me, that there's a choice coming. A choice between what looks smart and what is holy. A choice between following the crowd and following him. And I knew the moment I returned I had to say it. Even if people laughed. Even if they said I was crazy. Even if no one listened. Because even if one person hears this and chooses Jesus, then all of it, everything I saw, everything I felt, it would be worth it. After I saw the two paths, the chipped and the chosen, I felt something change inside me. I wasn't just watching anymore. I was feeling it. The pain. The confusion. The loneliness. So many people, especially kids my age, were desperate to feel loved, to belong, to be more than just ordinary. That's why they were falling for the lie. The chip promised everything their hearts were crying for. Attention, connection, purpose, power. But it was fake. Jesus turned to me again, and his face was both kind and firm. He said, Malachi, they won't believe adults when they hear this. They'll say it's just fear or control. But you are one of them. You understand the pull. That's why you must speak. He lifted his hand and placed it over my chest. I didn't feel heat or pressure. I felt truth. A burning truth that filled every part of me. It was like fire and light were being written into my soul, not to hurt me but to give me courage. And then he said something I will never forget. After that moment, Jesus showed me faces. Hundreds. Thousands. Young people from all over the world. Nigeria, Brazil, Japan, Germany, Mexico, even kids from places I'd never heard of. Some were crying in secret. Some were trapped in sin. Some were already being pulled toward the chip, not because they were evil but because they were tired of feeling left behind. Jesus looked at each of them with love. So much love. He whispered, "Tell them I see them. Tell them I love them. Tell them I have not forgotten them." I started to cry. I couldn't help it. I didn't want to leave his presence. I didn't want to go back to a world full of noise and confusion and people who'd think I made it all up. But Jesus looked me in the eyes and I felt strength I didn't know I had. "You were sent to this time on purpose," he said. "You were born into this generation for a reason. You are not an accident. You are a message." I nodded. I didn't have to understand everything. I just had to say yes. And in that moment I did. "Yes, Lord. I'll tell them. Even if it's hard." The moment I said yes, everything began to move quickly. The light that had surrounded us slowly faded and I could feel a gentle pull, like I was being carried back through time, through space, through something invisible that connects heaven to earth. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay with Jesus forever. I wanted to live in that peace, that love, that stillness where nothing was broken or confusing. But deep in my spirit, I knew that this wasn't the end of my story, it was the beginning. As I drifted back, I could hear Jesus say one more thing, soft but strong. "Tell them to pray. Tell them to stay close to me. Even when it's hard. Even when they feel alone. I will never leave them." And then it was dark again. Then pain. Then noise. I gasped so hard it felt like breathing for the first time in my life. My chest burned. My body was shaking. I heard machines beeping, people crying, nurses rushing around me. I was in a hospital bed, and they said I had been gone for 17 minutes. 17 whole minutes without a heartbeat. That first night in the hospital, when everyone finally left the room and it was just me and the hum of the machines, I stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Jesus, was it real?" And deep inside I felt him whisper back, "Yes." From that day forward, I knew I couldn't stay quiet. But speaking up wasn't easy. When I first told my parents everything, they listened with wide eyes and trembling hands. My mom cried. My dad just sat there, silent, like he was trying to believe it but couldn't quite find the words. I told them everything, What Jesus said, what I saw, the chips, the spiritual battle, the faces of the kids who needed to know they were loved. I told them that Jesus was coming soon and we had to stay awake. Stay ready. Stay close to him. My parents believed me, but they were afraid. Afraid for me. Afraid of how people would react. And honestly, so was I. At first, I only shared the story with a few friends at church. Some believed. Some didn't. Some laughed. Others cried. Then I made a video, just me and my phone. I sat on my bed, told the story from start to finish, and posted it online. That video changed everything. Some people called me crazy. Others said I made it all up for attention. A few called me a liar or a false prophet. But then, the messages started coming. Private messages from kids all over the world. Some said they'd been thinking about the brain chip and felt uneasy. Others said they had dreams about Jesus too. A few told me they had never prayed before, but now they wanted to try. I even got a message from a teenager who was planning to take his life, until he saw my video and felt hope again. That's when I knew this wasn't about me. It never was. It was about the message. About reminding people, especially young people, that there's more to this life than what we see on screens. That there's a war going on for our minds and hearts. And that Jesus is not just a name in a book. He's real. He's alive. And he's reaching out to us even now. Sometimes it still feels like a dream. Like maybe I imagined it all. But then I remember his eyes. His voice. That burning truth he placed in my heart. And I know it was real. Since then, I've done everything I can to share the message. I've spoken in churches, online, even at my school when they let me. Some people listen. Some don't. Some roll their eyes and say I'm too young to understand the world. But I don't try to argue with them anymore. I just keep speaking. Because Jesus didn't ask me to convince people. He asked me to warn them. And to love them. I think about the kids I saw in the vision, the ones with chips in their heads, smiling but lost inside. And I think about the others, the ones without chips, glowing with the Spirit of God. I wonder which side each of us will end up on. I pray every day that I stay on the side of light no matter how hard it gets. Because it will get hard. Jesus didn't promise that following him would be easy. In fact, he showed me that those who choose to stay pure, to stay connected to him and reject this coming technology, will be laughed at, left out, and even persecuted. Some will lose jobs. Some will lose friends. Some may even be threatened. But he also showed me something even more powerful. Those people will walk in miracles. They'll hear God clearly. They'll have dreams and visions. They'll heal the sick. They'll pray with fire in their hearts. Because Jesus will not leave us powerless. He will fill us with his Spirit in ways the world has never seen before. This is why I'm telling you my story. Not to scare you. Not to get attention. But because this is real. And the time to choose is coming faster than we think. So if you're hearing this right now, I want you to know something. Jesus sees you. He loves you. You were born for this time, for a purpose. You are not too young. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are exactly who he can use. Stay close to him. Read the word. Pray even when it feels quiet. Talk to him like a friend. Ask him for truth and he will give it to you. You don't need a chip to be powerful. You just need Jesus. And one more thing. Please pray for people like Elon Musk and others in the tech world. It's easy to hate or blame them, but Jesus told me they're not beyond hope. They've just been deceived. Like all of us have at some point, our prayers can reach them. So don't stop praying. If this message touched your heart, I hope you'll share it. Someone you know might need to hear this too. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, more truth, more hope, more light in the darkness, please subscribe to this channel. Not for me, but so we can keep walking this journey together. There's more coming. And we need each other. Thank you for listening. I love you. And more importantly, Jesus loves you. Always.